Right. Anyway, I should say why I put up these criticisms. Yes, I'm telling you that health economics is a good thing and economic evaluation is a good idea and it can really help you perhaps with some quite tough decisions, but not everybody agrees. And so this is just one of the more prominent critics. If you actually follow the link, you find these criticisms and you'll find a rebuttal by some quite well-known health economists. So that's why I'm not going to bother taking each criticism and then say why this eminent editor is wrong. Right. However, I am very sensitive to the idea that some people might view health economics and economic evaluation as in some way unethical. There's something sort of almost wrong about it. You know, when we're deciding what treatments should be available, which groups should be treated, somehow looking at the costs and the benefits, it somehow just seems not quite right. And some people would go as far as to say unethical. And I think the reason for this is if you are going to do economic evaluation, if you are going to assess the costs, assess the benefits, the implication is you're prepared to deny some people treatment that they've got the capacity to benefit from. Otherwise, there's no point doing it. I mean, if you are comfortable providing any healthcare at all, so long as there's some evidence of effect, if you're comfortable doing that, you've no reason to do economic evaluation. So the implication of doing economic evaluation, the implication of weighing up the costs and the benefits, the implication is that you are prepared to sometimes say, no, we will not provide this treatment, even though we know these people would benefit from it. And that could seem unethical. The economist's response and my response would be sometimes we have to say no. It's not that we're It's not a simple case of just saying, well, we don't have enough money, let's get a bit more money, spend a bit more, and we can say yes. That might seem the solution. For the general public, when they see a decision not to provide a particular form of care, and part of the reasoning is on the basis of the cost, or possibly opportunity cost, when they see that, they think, well, look, we can always spend a bit more money. We're talking about people's lives. It just seems so wrong not to go and spend a bit more money. And so there's an idea sometimes that the problem is that the budget's a bit too small. If the budget was a bit bigger, we could then buy the healthcare and give people the benefit that in some sense they should have a right to. But it's much more fundamental than that. The need to ration, the need to prioritize is nothing to do with the budget being too small. It's more fundamental. Let me explain. There are many, many different ways we can improve people's health, or we can maintain their health, or we can prevent ill health. There are many different ways, some of which I've listed here. Obviously there's healthcare, but in addition to healthcare, there's things like improving sanitation, improving housing, increasing education and training, better nutrition, a cleaner environment, possibly things like a better work-life balance. We can go on and on. We can identify things that we could be doing as a society that would improve people's health, or, as I say, might prevent ill health. Healthcare and access to health services is only one element. Now that won't come as news to people working in a public health environment, obviously. But it's got some interesting implications. If we're trying to get the maximum improvement in health, and let's assume we are, we could debate whether that's desirable, but let's assume we are trying our best to improve health. If we're trying to get the maximum improvement, the way we do this is not by spending and spending and spending in one particular area, but instead we spend in the different areas. And we allocate our resources to education, to improving nutrition, to cleaning the environment. We allocate our resources so that the incremental benefit, the additional health that they provide in these different areas, is equal. That's how we get the most from a fixed budget, by allocating it so that the improvement in health, if you like, per pound spent or per million yen spent or whatever, that improvement is equal in the different areas of spending. You don't maximize health by putting all your resources into one area, for example, healthcare, and going on investing in healthcare until there's no incremental benefit. So you don't do everything that you can in healthcare that produces a positive benefit, because you'll do better if you stop spending on healthcare at some point and actually worry more about improving housing or improving the environment. And so my point here is, it's not just our budget's too small in a particular area of healthcare, and that's why we have to say no. Fundamentally, we should not go on spending in any area and on as the marginal benefit, the gain in health, goes down and down. We shouldn't push it to zero. We should actually stop spending in a particular area before that incremental benefit, that additional bit of health that's generated, before that reaches zero. And just to repeat, the reason we should do that is if you go on spending on healthcare right down till you're almost the gain is approaching zero, you're missing opportunities to improve health through other activity. So I would put it the other way around. Not that it's unethical to use economics and economic evaluation to inform decisions. I would say it's unethical not to consider the economic aspects. And this is because we're never going to have enough resources available to exhaust all the possibilities throughout the economy. So I'm including things like cleaning the environment, improving diets, improving education and understanding and knowledge, changing behaviour. We're not going to have enough resources to exploit all these opportunities throughout the economy. And so it's just not sensible to go on spending solely on healthcare so long as there's a positive incremental benefit. We do need to stop, and we do need to say no to some things. And also, even if we could exploit every opportunity to improve health, be it through healthcare, be it through additional investment in the environment, etc., we shouldn't do it. Because it's not just health that we're concerned about. Health's important, very important, but it's not the only thing that people care about. Some people care about, let's call it, national security or something like that. And other people particularly care about things like education. Salud. For example, should we only have educational programs if they're going to improve people's health? Clearly not. So there's more, sounds almost incorrect, but there's more to life than health. I do take the point, without health there's not so much life, but there is more to life than health. There's things that we value in life beyond just health. And so my final point here, or this is the final point from lecture 1, my final point at this point is economic evaluation is ethical because it recognises that the opportunity cost of treating one patient are the benefits foregone by other patients. The healthcare budget will always be limited and in some sense too small. And so if we do more for one patient or one patient group, we're going to end up doing less for some other group. Now, I'm afraid that's life. That's how things are going to be, have always been, and always will be. So we have to recognize that and just be sure that when we do make a decision to expand perhaps treatment in one area, just convince ourselves that what we're gaining in terms of improved health is greater than what we're giving up elsewhere. And that's where economic evaluation comes in. It tries to help you identify if that's the case. Are you getting more benefit from the new activity than you're giving up elsewhere? And if you don't go through that process, I would argue that's acting unethically. So I would stand it on its head. I wouldn't say it's unethical to be thinking about costs and benefits. I would say it's unethical not to be thinking about costs and benefits. Any comment? Yes?
They are questions rather than comments.
Okay, yeah.
From your experience, governmental decision taking regarding the cost benefit stuff, is it only based on economic estimation or evaluation? Do they include the medical part? Or is the medical part basically included in the economic estimation completely?
Right, thank you for that question. What we're really looking at in economic evaluation, sometimes called cost effectiveness. The effectiveness, in this context, is the change in the patient's health. And so the medical part, as you refer to it, is a central part of this information. So it's not that we have economics and we have medicine, they're coming together. The effectiveness information is coming from, often it's from clinical trials, not always, because some things can't be subject to randomized trials, but it's coming from medical research, medical experience and knowledge, and that's feeding in to the economic calculation.